Okay, flight simmers, we're going to be doing a flight today from Kilo Papa Alpha M in Florida to Northwest Florida Beaches International, Kilo Echo Charlie Papa. So we've done our flight plan using the Flight Sim World Map. We're doing IFR low altitude airways. We're going to do an ILS approach on runway 16 at Northwest Florida Beaches International. There's our flight plan. So let's. Okay, here we are on the runway, and first thing I want to do is set the barometric pressure. Just press B on your keyboard, and that will automatically set it here to the proper barometric pressure. I want to set my altitude to 3,000 for now. See if they change that. Air traffic control when we get in the air. And let's see, we want to make sure this is on, I'm just going to zoom in on that window, control 1. I want to make sure this is on GPS, and you can change it like that, and we will be changing it to the localizer when we get near. So for runway 16 at KECP, I want to just go to a little program that I use that's free, Flight Plan Database. When you get to Flight Plan Database, just hit Tools and pump in your airport code, which is Kilo Echo Charlie Papa. That's our destination. And hit search, and it will bring up the runway. So runway 16 localizer is 111.15 megahertz. So right here, we have to make sure that that's correct. And this has been automatically entered. But if you wanted to change it, you can use this button here to scroll. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's just hit that button and scroll for our, you can see it's changing here. So let's change that to 1.5. There we go. And using the larger button, we can change the other one to 111. And then hit swap. So that's how we do it. So that's now the active frequency, and the standby moved over, which was the same. So it was already set, I guess, by the Microsoft computer, but you want to make sure that's correct. So our flight plan's already been done for us. So to keep this simple, we're simply going to take off, and when we get in the air, put on our necessary things such as nav. And we want to hit, want to go up or down our altitude. We've already set it at 3,000. I'll show you how you can hit vertical speed. We want to put our yaw damper on if it works. Some of it, sometimes on some of the models it doesn't go on, but if it does, put it on. And we want to hit autopilot, which will allow it to follow our flight plan. So those are the main buttons we're going to need to hit. And I already told you about the barometric pressure. So let's go outside the aircraft and look and see what we have here. Flaps set at 15, we're ready to go. So we've been cleared to take off. I'm just going to release the parking brakes, control delete on the keyboard. Simplest way to do it. And I'm just going to accelerate down the runway, fly straight out the runway. I'm going to turn a little bit to the right, pick up our flight plan. So once it reaches V1, it'll start to sway a little bit if you don't get it up in the air. We're just going to fly straight out the runway for now. The landing gear on this aircraft does not come out. So you want to watch your speed. got full throttle pretty much right now. We don't want to go over speed. So, beautiful Florida. Panhandle.
FedEx 208B678, contact 10 departure on ONE 25.2.
So I'm going to go inside the aircraft.
125
and I'm going to turn on the autopilot. Nav. Yaw damper won't go on.
B678 is climbing
And
through
for the
900 feet
altitude,
for 2,000 feet.
I'm going to hit vertical speed and increase.
FedEx 208B678, 10 departure,
And
continue as planned.
should start climbing
29.98.
right here. And this will stay on until we reach 3,000. You can see we're picking up, and I have to decrease
Climb
the
and
engines,
maintain
the
3,000
throttle,
feet. FedEx
get it out of that red
208B678.
zone. So we'll see if this is able to maintain a good flight path. I'm gonna look at the course heading for that runway. See if I can see it again. Right here. Course heading was 159 bearing. See if I can set that. See if I can change that. So I think I have to hit that to toggle between course heading here. So I think I have to hit that to toggle. Watch that speed again. So we're seeing some beautiful landscape here in Panhandle of Florida.
678, you are ONE 2 miles southeast. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 16 approach via OTTOE transition. Clear to OTTOE.
This is our Grand Caravan with the
Maintain
FedEx
present
liveries
heading
on
and
it.
altitude. Expect ILS runway 16 approach via auto transition. Clear to auto. FedEx 208B678.
FedEx 208B678, you are 1 mile southeast of Kilo Echo Charlie Papa. Contact Panama City Tower on 118.9er, 5 inbound.
Tower on 118.9er 5 FedEx 208B678. Panama City Tower FedEx 208B678 10 miles southeast inbound ILS runway 16 approach.
FedEx 208B678 Panama City Tower. Cleared ILS runway 16 approach. Altimeter 30.00 wind con.
Cleared ILS runway 16 approach FedEx 208B678.
When we get a little closer, we're going to switch to localizer mode. Localizer 1, and we're going to hit the approach hold button right here. And hopefully we'll pick up the glide slope and make a nice landing. This plane is fairly easy to land, so you can take it off autopilot for your landing. You'll find that sometimes a little more accurate because the localizer sometimes doesn't line up 100% with the runways. I don't know if it's a bug or just that the information hasn't been inputted correctly to match the runway with the ILS frequency. We should be getting there soon. Which Okay, so we're at a good altitude right now, 3,000. So to go up, it's just a matter of, or down, just a matter of going to this button and hitting vertical speed to turn it on. And let's just do decrease a little bit. And I'm going to set the altitude to, let's say, 27. You can see it's going down, and it will target 27 and level off. So that's how you would go up or down. Scroll this way for down, scroll this way for up. So that's turned itself off. Usually when it hits its set altitude, altitude hold will come on. So it's not going down, so I'm just going to hit it again. And let's just scroll a little bit more here. Get it to go down a level off of 27. And then the altitude should come on again. And this button goes off. Okay, we're getting fairly close. Try and pick up the localizer. Once again, I'm going to check the barometric pressure. Press B on your keyboard to reset it. Let's take a look right here. And you see it just adjusted. And that will also adjust your altitude properly. Okay, let's go outside. Look at the scenery again. Very realistic for sure. Done an excellent job and continue to work on bugs and issues with various planes, but for the most part the scenery is fine. You can really get an experience like you're actually flying over the area. You can imagine for real pilots that haven't flown into a certain airport, you can see this being useful. Get a little better view for landing. Some prefer that, or maybe this. It's up to you. The spacebar again, you get that view back. So we should be seeing shortly the runway, and you can see it's turned white. It's no longer red, so but the plane is still following. Just leave it do its own work unless I see it going astray, which I'll hit the localizer. So like I mentioned, I have to click the CDI button to change it from GPS to localizer. So right now, as long as it keeps turning and following that track, I'm going to leave it this waypoint right here. Looking at this screen, we can see we're 1 nautical mile from this waypoint. So very shortly I'm going to hit the localizer. And hopefully we get a glide slope showing up in green here. right on track still. So I'm going to turn it on localizer, see if it can line up or go astray. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the approach hold. So looks like we're lining up pretty good. There's the, looks like the runway right up there. We should start to descend. Let's see if it adjusts its own speed. So I'm going to put the flaps down. Don't want to really get into this red zone here. Looks like it's doing okay. Just before landing, I am going to put full flaps on. We haven't started descending yet. So I see it's on localizer. It's picked it up here, LOC. Glide slope is still in white, right here. And that needs to turn green to pick up the glide slope.
Panama City Tower, generic November.
Okay, I see it
223
descending
Victor
now.
Bravo, ready for ISR departure runway 34.
So you can see it just picked up the glide slope.
Generic November 223
And
Victor
it's starting
Bravo,
to
cleared for
descend,
takeoff runway
and it
34.
seems to be maintaining speed on its own. So I'm just going to leave it.
Panama
I'm not
City Tower,
adjusting the
Trailblazer
throttle,
4877 miles.
Just
Southbound
leave it
bound
alone.
on runway 34 approach.
but I will put it right back to idle when we land.
Trailblazer 487 Panama City Tower. Cleared RF runway 34 approach. Altimeter tree 0.00 wind con.
So we're heading for
Trailblazer 487
runway
cleared to land runway
16.
34. Wind com.
Looks like another plane landing right now.
Cleared for takeoff runway 34 generic November 223 Victor Bravo.
Okay, so the
Clear
plane
to
is
land
holding
runway
at 139 knots right
47.
now on its own. Flaps are down, halfway.
FedEx 208B678 cleared to land runway 16. Wind com.
Okay, calm
Clear to land
winds.
runway 16
Clear to
FedEx
land.
208B678.
Now you can see the plane also just is cutting back the throttle on its own. I'm not doing that. So this plane, whatever it's set at, is probably the landing speed for this aircraft. So if you're trying to figure that out for the Grand Caravan, you can just watch. It's probably pretty much on idle right now. It's holding at 92 knots roughly. It leveled off. You know, probably just to maintain the proper glide slope. So I'm going to have to make sure that this continues to descend.
Trailblazer 487 go around.
I'll just take it outside so you can see
Going
what's
around
going on.
Trailblazer 487.
So it's still descending. And it's holding the speed on its own
Contact Jacksonville approach on
at around 80 knots. I'm just going to get a better view here for landing. Looks like we're lined right up with the runway. So I'm going to go back inside just in case things don't look too good. So I'll have to take off the autopilot, and you can put on reverse thrust or just use your brake. Not going very fast. 79, 78. And it is coming in nicely right now. Still descending. We're at 700 feet. Should get a notification when we hit 500. Right on, it looks like. I do believe some airports the information might be a little inaccurate, but this one proving to be bang on. So you can take off the autopilot now.
Panama City Tower, generic November 480 Mike Bravo, 8 miles southeast, inbound RNAV runway 34 approach. FedEx 208B678, go around. Generic November 480 Mike Bravo, Panama City Tower. Cleared RNAV runway 34 approach. Altimeter 29.9 wind calm.
Somebody else on the runway.
Going around FedEx 208B678.
So that was because someone was on the runway.
FedEx 208B678, contact Tyndall departure on ONE 25.2.
Going to 125.2 FedEx 208B678. Tyndall departure FedEx 208B678 is missed approach at Kilo Echo Charlie Pop.
FedEx 208B678, you are 2 miles south. Climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect RNAV runway 34 approach via tie box transition. Cleared to tie box.
Climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect RNAV runway.
FedEx 208B678, please expedite your climb to 4,000 feet.
Okay, I've taken the autopilot off. I'm just going to try and land this manually. See how it goes. I had to do a go around because there's another aircraft on the runway. Otherwise, everything was going just fine. So we're at around 75. Totally on idle right now. So just kind of keep your nose up a bit. I want to put the reverse thrust on. Okay, take off the reverse thrust. See if we can find out where the gate is. I'm gonna get off the runway here. Make sure your flaps are up. This thing will steer better with the flaps up. Okay, we're gonna stop right here. Okay, let's see if we can get a hold of control ATC. See if we can go to the gates or not.
Try later.
So if you had an Airbus here, the jetway would come over and you can request fuel.
Panama City ground FedEx 208B678, could you please send a fuel truck?
FedEx 208B678, a fuel truck, is on the road.
That you would get on the larger planes. So thank you very much for joining me on this flight. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of how to fly the Grand Caravan X.